It's been nearly a week since Hurricane Helene made landfall in the U.S., and the extent of the storm's devastation unfortunately becoming clearer by the day. At least 191 people are now confirmed dead. Many more are still missing. And damage to critical infrastructure has made relief efforts all the more difficult. CNN's Isabel Rosales followed along with FEMA in North Carolina to capture the challenging conditions for first responders.
Rare and exclusive access. CNN guided up the Blue Ridge Mountains by one of FEMA's 24 deployed urban search and rescue teams. We're deep in hard-hit Avery County, North Carolina. It just collapsed all the side of them. Portions of Beach Mountain, a remote ski resort town, left unrecognizable by Helene's wrath. The sides of the road just like washed off there. These winding mountain roads made further difficult to navigate by obstacles. We are entering an area that's closed off to regular people. Only first responders are allowed. And it is because it's so treacherous. We're seeing it for ourselves, like thick mud all over the place, trees that are down, portions of the road has crumbled down. So I'm really concentrating here. This is difficult to drive. And even when debris and fallen trees are cleared by chainsaw and manpower to make way for rescuers, another major barrier. This FEMA supervisor who's been on his cell phone trying to get in touch with his team to figure out where they're at. Division Group Supervisor Colin Burress pulls us over.
Can't get a signal. We're seeing for ourselves everything that the governor has been talking about, officials have been talking about, how big of a challenge communication is, not just for civilians, but you guys trying to do these rescue operations.
It is. You know, when you don't have cell service, email, text, all of that becomes a challenge and it kind of slows things down.
Then, by pure luck, a few of his men spot us. They found him just out of the blue, so this is great. We're being reunited, and here's the command post right here. This 80-member FEMA team assisting the North Carolina National Guard, now on day 6 of rescuing survivors stranded and cut off from help.
So ESA's trained to find live people, and Crush is trained to find human remains.
They huddle over maps.
Beach Mountain, the Seven Devils was kind of a priority.
Working out the next day's urgent search. How does this work? You guys are doing grids? I see this black line right here.
Yeah, it's just easier for us to keep up. And so we'll send squads. We'll say, hit grid 1 or grid 2, grid 3, grid 4.
Before sunset, we roll out. We came up about 3 miles, but honestly, it feels like 10. Back down the mountain, a second look at what Helene laid to waste. Before we can make it down, another danger getting through these torn and treacherous roads.
This is a special case. Typically, the roads washed out, in a mountain atmosphere like this. Hurricanes usually happen, towards the coast. But this is definitely more challenges for us that we haven't faced before.
Regardless, first responders across the state push on. More than 400 people rescued so far, says the governor's office. But the work nowhere near done until all the missing are found.
This morning, the death toll from Hurricane Helene keeps rising. 191 people across 6 states, with rescue crews still searching for people unaccounted for. President Biden has just approved more federal disaster relief funding as he prepares to visit Florida and Georgia today. This follows his trip to North Carolina. CNN senior national correspondent Ryan Young is in Valdosta, Georgia. The storm passed right over where you are, Ryan. Give us the latest from there.
It did, John. Look, you were about 70 miles away from here when the storm was going on in Tallahassee. When you arrive here in Valdosta, we made the drive up from Thomasville. You can just see devastation with big trees down everywhere, homes that have been impacted, bricks like this, all a part of the landscape because this storm had so much power. And when you walk this direction, you can see in a building like this one, it just really destroyed this facade. 70% of this area is still without power. There's a curfew that goes on from 8 p.m. to 6 every morning. So you understand the folks here really want that relief. And on top of all that, of course, the president's going to have a very busy schedule today as he's going to be in Florida and he's going to be in South Georgia. But for the residents here, you could understand their frustration and their want and desire for more help. Take a listen to a few folks talking about the cleanup efforts so far.
I would say that I'm at a complete loss, very emotional, almost at a point where your hands are tied.
I can say this here, it's been rough just for everyone. People just afraid and, just devastated.
John, and as I walk over from that building, you can see the line of wind that came through here. Part of the roof is all the way down here, more than 200 yards away from the building. It tossed a part of this light just very easily, so you can see this still down here. We're still assessing the area, and obviously the smaller cities around here are clamoring for more attention. Those big trees have really played a role in knocking this power out all across the area. But as you can understand, that presidential visit will put eyes on this complete area. The governor was here earlier in the week, and so was former President Trump. So the folks of South Georgia are really hoping to see some changes. And of course, the Georgia National Guard through here making way in terms of clearing the roads so people can get left and right. But obviously still a long road to go with 70% of people still without power.
Look,
John?
so much destruction, and the recovery is slow and it is hard. Ryan Young, great to have you there. Thank you very much. So this morning, a new Tennessee state investigation into the deaths of factory workers there. Flooding from Hurricane Helene swept away 11 employees at Impact Plastics in Irwin. Companies in the state have 8 hours to report a workplace death, but investigators say they still have not received one. Workers say the plant only shut down once the power went out and water flooded the parking lot, despite warnings of potentially life-threatening floods. Several of the workers never made it home.
Why'd you make us work that day? Why? We shouldn't have worked. We shouldn't have been there. None of us should have been there. And that's what I should have said to them. Why did you make us work when you knew you were taking a statement, you were monitoring it? Why did you make us stay and work?
So 5 of the 11 people swept away were rescued. 2 have been confirmed dead. 4 are still missing. The company says they have not been contacted by the Tennessee Bureau of Investigation, but will fully cooperate, and they are preparing an internal review, which will be released, they say, to the public. Sarah?
All right, this morning, search efforts are ongoing for hundreds of people still unaccounted for after Hurricane Helene. One of them is Stephen Cloyd, who is missing after trying to escape rising floodwaters. In Jonesboro, Tennessee, one of his sons, Matthew, is joining us now. Thank you so much for joining us. I know this is a really difficult time as you wait to hear anything from your dad. When was the last time you were able to speak to your dad, or one of your family members like your mom talk to your father?
Last contact we had with my dad was actually the day of the storm. I want to say last contact my mom had was right around like the 2:40-ish area. Last cell phone ping we had was right around 3:11.
When we see hurricanes like this, we think of coastal towns being hit really, really hard. Did you ever think, and did he ever consider that Jonesboro, Tennessee would be affected like this, nowhere near the beach?
No. I mean, I've stated that in multiple conversations I've had with people. I mean, when you hear hurricane, I think I talked to one of your guys' correspondents earlier for the written article. I stressed to him, I said, this isn't something you think of when you think of hurricanes. You think beaches, you think palm trees, you think coast. You don't think, mountainside cabins in the middle of woods in the Appalachian region. It's not something you think about. Your mind doesn't go there. So, like I said, when I got the phone call from my mom telling me that my dad was in trouble, at first I was just confused. Like, what do you mean? What do you mean? I never knew this was going to be something that this hurricane was going to affect this entire region in this way. I wasn't prepared for the phone call.
We're seeing some pictures of your father playing with your cute dog. In this area, people tend to be a little rugged. They're used to sort of dealing with the outdoors. They enjoy the outdoors. Can you give us some sense of what happened up until the time that you lost contact with your father, what he was going through as the storm was coming in?
So at first, my mom went to work and it was fine. And then I want to say it was right around 11 o'clock. He started texting my mom and sending her videos. And I mean, over the course of like the following 3 hours, you can see in different stages that it just gets progressively worse. We don't know what happened yet. We're hoping we can start to get some answers really soon once we get some of the video surveillance that was around my uncle's house. We're hoping we can start to piece together maybe what exactly happened in the moments leading up. I know the main thing that he was stressing inside his phone conversations was he wanted to make sure that my uncle and my mom did not come home because he knew that the waters were starting to get bad. I think throughout the course of it, I think he was just like everybody else. He didn't think it was going to keep going.